Hello, friends. Welcome to the retelling of the film The Devil Conspiracy. In 2024, in one of the biotechnical laboratories, scientists began cloning famous personalities, which aroused the interest of many rich people. However, it was eventually decided to clone Jesus. After Lucifer rebelled against God in heaven, he was defeated by the archangel Michael and banished to the underworld, where he was chained by an angel. Michael asked his brother to return to heaven in the form of a humble angel, but Lucifer refused and preferred to reign in hell rather than serve in paradise. His followers on earth built a temple at the site of his fall, believing that he would return in 2024. Lauren, an American student, tries to convince her professor that there are no spirits of good and evil. She wrote a thesis on this topic and goes to the museum, where the exhibition of the Turin shroud begins. Her friend, a priest named Marconi, explains that on the day of Jesus' death, his body was wrapped in a shroud, but after his resurrection it shone so brightly that it left an imprint on the fabric. The shroud contains the DNA of Jesus and is evidence of his resurrection. Marconi takes Lauren to the statue of the Archangel Michael, which was taken to the museum to protect the shroud. The girl is skeptical about everything, but Marconi is sure that Michael stands between the devil and people. There are many prophecies that Lucifer will return, but the priest hopes for the best. When Lauren is left alone, she starts her thesis, but suddenly she hears her name in an empty hall. The strange events do not end there, because before the museum closes, a suspicious figure in a raincoat is seen among the last group of tourists. Despite the late hour, Lauren continues to work, but when it seems to her that Lucifer's head is moving, the girl decides that she is simply overworked. But just as she's distracted, someone behind her snatches a sword from Michael's statue. At this moment, she is scared to death by a security guard who reminds her about the closure of the museum. A few minutes later, Lauren sees him being killed with a sword. The girl immediately hides and begins to watch as unknown people break the protective glass over the shroud. Marconi comes to the noise and calls St. Michael, but the woman throws him aside and, in the name of Lucifer, pierces him with a sword. Lauren screams in horror, and the villain notices her. The woman orders the mercenaries to take the shroud and the girl, hoping that she will still be useful. As soon as they leave, the mortally wounded priest calls on Archangel Michael with the last of his strength to use his body and defeat the devilish forces. At this time, a miracle happens, and the priest comes to life. He immediately tries to catch up with the villains, and a woman named Liz recognizes the Archangel Michael himself. A little later, one of the scientists, named John, explains that he managed to make a breakthrough in science. He can raise children from the DNA of great people, and as proof cites the reincarnation of the great Vivaldi. Then he demonstrates the reincarnation of Michelangelo, but at that moment Liz appears and urgently calls the scientist. John, for the sake of this, even interrupts the auction and goes to the temple, where he sees the shroud and immediately takes DNA from it. Meanwhile, Lauren finds herself chained in a room where there are already several girls who do not understand anything. While they are taking all the necessary tests, Archangel Michael in the body of a priest is sent to the cardinal. The old man, upon learning about what happened, becomes enraged because he warned the priests about the prophecy. Realizing that it is definitely not Marconi in front of him, Cardinal shows Michael the temple of Lucifer and assumes that the henchmen intend to revive him. The old man reminds him of the Holy Scripture, which says that one day the devil will free himself from his shackles and rise from the underworld. Two monsters are responsible for his release, a woman and an underground monster, but only Michael himself or Jesus can free Lucifer. However, after learning about DNA cloning, Michael suspects that using the DNA of Jesus, a child will be born who will become a vessel for the devil. Meanwhile, John successfully extracts DNA, and at this moment the rocks in the underworld begin to collapse, foreshadowing the release of Lucifer. Then the girls, despite desperate resistance, are injected with fertilized eggs, and then they are chained to a post. They are horrified to see an underground monster in front of them, who leads them by force to the gates to the underworld. Meanwhile, the cardinal accompanies Michael to a secret passage under the devil's temple, and the girls in an iron cage are brought to Lucifer. Sensing the approach of the Holy Mother, he turns into a spirit and penetrates one of the girls, who immediately dies. But after he infiltrated Lauren and she survived, Liz and the servants enthusiastically greet the girl and explain that her child will become the new Jesus. At this time, Michael finally sneaks into the temple. Having invulnerability to weapons, he deals with the guards and then finds the shroud and learns the location of Lauren. Suddenly, John confronts him, but the archangel finds out that he is a follower of Lucifer and immediately destroys the laboratory. Soon, Michael finds Lauren and tries to get her out through a secret passage, but they are chased by guards and an underground monster. While Angel is fighting him, the guards grab Lauren. As a result, she was chained to the bed, and Michael was put on a chain. While Liz's mercenaries are searching for the shroud, the archangel gathers all his powers and frees himself from the shackles, and then descends into the underworld. There he discovers that Lucifer has been freed and his sword is missing. Demons immediately come to him and capture the archangel himself. Soon, people who were sacrificed to Lucifer come to him and ask about his origin. They do not believe that Michael is in front of them and demand proof. But in a human body without a sword, he is weak. As soon as they want to give up the sword, they are suddenly attacked by demons. At this time, the spirit of Lucifer takes possession of Lauren and convinces her to give birth to a child, which the girl wants to get rid of. However, after a while, the fragile girl feels great strength and, having brutally dealt with the guards, escapes from the ward. The girl is horrified by her actions, but as soon as she locks herself in the warehouse, she immediately drinks a canister with a chemical substance. Liz assures that the girl will definitely give birth, and then Lucifer will devour her. At this moment, Lauren gains unprecedented strength and spews the contents of her stomach at the woman. It turns out that Lucifer is trying to save the child and orders to lock the girl in a glass sarcophagus to prevent further attempts to kill her son. Lucifer then returns to the underworld, where he sees Michael and taunts him. He offers an alliance that no one can defeat, but the archangel refuses at all. When Lucifer returns to Earth, the archangel begins to guess that it was not the devil who chose Lauren, but Jesus himself. Fortunately, before the arrival of the demons, people come to his aid and give him his sacred sword. With his help, Michael is finally freed, and while the demons are cowardly flying away, the archangel promises to return for his rescuers. Michael returns to Earth and finds the shroud, and then goes to Lauren's sarcophagus. He tries to convince the woman to give birth because the child is not evil at all, and it is he who will defeat Lucifer. But as soon as the archangel frees the girl, she immediately attacks him. After learning that this is Lucifer, Michael assures that he will not be able to control the child because the blood of Christ flows in him. Michael tries to help Lauren, but she is still obsessed with Lucifer. Lucifer demonstrates his plan to use humanity to destroy the world, but Michael clarifies that it was God's plan and that the child was supposed to destroy Lucifer. Lucifer runs away in a rage and begs Liz to kill the child, but Liz refuses and follows the plan. Lauren later gives birth to a healthy baby boy. After giving birth, Lauren is dumped into a well, and Liz takes the baby to the courtyard of the temple, where the devil's followers greet him. Suddenly, the monster begins to destroy everyone. All this time, Lauren was holding on to the edge of the well, and Michael, hearing her screams, comes to the rescue. Then they take the baby away from Liz, after which Lauren and the baby go to the cardinal, and Michael tries to close the entrance to the underworld. At this moment, the monster attacks him and opens the gate, but the archangel was ready for this, and he immediately activates the explosives. A little later, Cardinal and Lauren return the shroud with the baby in their arms. At this time, Michael descends into the underworld and frees the people who helped him. After a while, Cardinal and Lauren walk with a grown-up boy named Michael, but they do not even suspect that Liz is watching them. A kilometer away from him, a woman calls the child Lucifer, and he turns in her direction. After that, we can only guess about the future of our world.